So, Wippa, thanks for joining us on the Daily Aus this morning.
Thank you, Sam. Honoured to be here, mate. Really appreciate the time.
Why did you start this campaign?
Well, as I've said, I to launch 36 months really is me acknowledging that I've got a platform, but I'm here representing everyone else that has a major concern with the age limit of kids on social media. More and more the conversations are shared. And at the same time, Sam, some of the stories are absolutely devastating. And the result is life-changing for individuals, but also families that have suffered through this. And you know what? In some of the reading that I'd done and knowing that state by state in the US, there were conversations happening and laws were being changed, I thought we have to do something. The idea that there's a product out there that 1 in 2 will use and have a psychological impact of possibly anxiety or depression. Yeah. And if you continue to use that product, it might kill you. Now, if that was anything else, it wouldn't last on the shelf for 2 seconds. But all of a sudden, we've found ourselves with this huge data set, which shows us the impact clearly and the correlation, but it's still going on. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's simply not right.
And so you're asking people to sign a petition. As we're recording this, there's about 38,000 signatories, which is by no means a small number of people. What happens after that?
You can drive it for as many signatures, and in a perfect world, you like to think the politician represents you and the politician works for you. And I think what we're doing, I mean, the petition is simple in that we just want people to understand that we're here and that we're fighting for them. The next step would be an element of submission for change to the law, and there's a couple of different laws we'd be looking at. There's a Privacy Act. So there's 2 parts to it behind the scenes. One is we're working through the actual technical requirement of how it would work if there was a 2-factor verification, which would obviously have to be in conjunction with the social media platform. But we do have that database. We do have that data online. So it wouldn't be a sharing of data. It wouldn't be, the process would be that through the social media platform, that 2-factor would happen behind the scene. And we know when you are born in this country, everything's on file. There's a check that can be made. So that's how it would work. That's how the function of it would work. But
so just to spell that out, you're kind of saying that 2-factor, so you'd have to then loop in a Medicare or a passport office or something. It would ping out to a government database and say, yes, this kid is 16 and a half, they're allowed on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it would simply know who you were and whether you could be. There's a bit of money that's gone from the government into research about how that would work and how that would look. The other side of it too is just kind of getting in the right room and having a bit of a punch on with the politicians.
So when I first read through your material and proposal, the big thought I had was teenagers under 16 are going to find a way around it, whether it's, me getting into clubs with a fake ID when I was 17 and not meant to be there, whatever it might be, we'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
Are you not putting in there then a structure where a 15-year-old who's not meant to be on social media, who's having a really terrible traumatic experience on social media, then feels afraid to go to mum and dad or to a teacher or something because it's now illegal that they're there?
Yeah, look, there's always going to be ways around things. That's simply with any law that there is. Casinos, gambling, what do you want it to be? Cigarettes, alcohol. There will always be ways around. But I think what we're trying to do as well is, and a lot of the feedback has been, it's the parents. The parents must have the strength to tell the kids they can't do that and they can't be on there. But we're trying to empower the parents also to be able to say, you don't rob a bank, you don't steal a car, and it's illegal to be on social media under the age of 16. So you would like to think there was some level of correct influence there from the parents.
And then the other thing that we need to really think about is, in your perfect world, we delay the age of social media to that 16 point. They're still going to get there. And they're still going to see, terrible things. They're still going to be, the statistics say cyberbullied, all of that kind of thing. Do you see this going hand in hand with more education in that 13 to 16? Like, are we just talking about holding them back from entering that world or actually going in harder?
No, that is the spot on thinking.
Right.
It's the idea of going, we've got 36 months. We've given it back to them. I mean, let's add up the hours.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we going to do with that time? Besides families that naturally will reconnect, what education can we build into that 36 months? Think about the teachings we can build in and think about the resilience we then have time to work and the skill set that they could possibly take going into their later teens.
So you're actually framing it as more of an opportunity cost.
I see a huge opportunity, a massive opportunity. And the other thing is too, outside of when you talk about the kids and the parents, I was having a discussion with a friend yesterday who's a teacher. And not only are the teachers unable to teach because they spend their entire time putting out spot fires caused by social media, the teachers are actually quitting because they can't do their job. So that's sort of the depth of where we go to on an education front. So I think it would be quite engaging to have that education around what people are dealing with at the moment.
Hello, I'm James and I produce the video you're watching. If you're enjoying what you're watching, we'd love it if you considered subscribing and checking us out on our other platforms. It'd really help in getting the word out about what we're doing here at TDA. Thanks very much, and now back to the deep dive.
But we've decided that kids under 16 are criminally responsible. I mean, they can go to jail in some states and territories from the age of 10. But now we're saying that they're not responsible enough to have an Instagram or Snapchat account. We also think that they can pay taxes when they start working at Macca's at 14. How do we reconcile all of this?
I don't think you can. I think you just have to, you got to work off the database and the numbers. There's always going to be outliers and effects of comparisons there. But no, if you were to take my stance on why we're talking about the difference between 13 and 16, then it would support what you're saying there, because really we're talking about the adolescent brain and the development and the fact that, it's that prefrontal cortex, which is a very big part of your reaction, your decision making, your maturity, your emotion, and that doesn't stop growing till you're into your early 20s. So that's why we look at that young brain as being so vulnerable, influential, and that's constantly developing through those puberty years. So when you build in the sensitivities around that and you consider what's being served online, then yes, that's where the danger really, really lies.
Yeah, I feel like mine's still developing and I'm 29.
Oh
so,
my gosh,
yes.
If you saw some of the things I do in my general life day to day, Sam,
exactly.
wonder why I'm putting my hand up here.
I've got two really quick more questions and then I'll let you go. So, the news industry is dealing with its own tensions with social media. We're staring down the barrel of a Canada-like situation where all news pages are taken off social media because of the government, twisting the dial too much on regulating them. Do you have a fear that Meta could just go, you know what, if you're trying to disrupt our business model and get that up to 16, we're just going to withdraw from Australia altogether? For those listening to the podcast,
you can't see me put my hand in the air.
Wippa's just shrugged there going, you know what? No, but is that something you've thought about?
Yeah, at the same time, let the evolution of it happen. We talk about the government and TikTok and, was it India the other day that said no more TikTok?
Yeah.
And then the government in the US is kind of hinting at no more TikTok. And if TikTok was to shut down, well, TikTok goes away. Now, another version is going to pop up somewhere, but wouldn't it be great if we were able to clear out the deck and start again, Sam?
Interesting.
Let's sweep the floor and say, hey, guys, brand new party. Here are the rules.
Interesting.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful world if we could
very
start
interesting.
that again?
It would slightly disrupt the Daily Aus, but I think it's a very interesting proposition.
I don't want to do that to you.
No. So you've had this. Yeah, no, after you.
Things are going to change, and there's going to be some safer places to play. You talk about dumb phones coming back into trend for kids.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Keep it simple.
I couldn't agree with you more in that we're entering a 2 or 3 year period where there's going to be massive social media disruption. And if there was a time for you to be loud about this campaign, it probably is now when we're reevaluating the place of every platform. Last question, Wippa. You've had a sensational broadcast career. Are you now thinking about a career in politics?
No, not at all.
But
no.
But to really do this, don't you think you need to kind of keep seeing it through?
Yeah, but I don't need to become a politician to do that. I think, I was talking before about the great thing about what radio has bought is, and having done, the Fitzy and Wippa show and Kate Ritchie now for 13 years, Sam, is that you can meet so many wonderful people. So the idea behind how we put this together and how far we can drive this was really pulling in all the pieces and going, right, well, that person knows this, that person knows this. We can bring in that sort of influence here and getting everybody together to support the right message.
Michael Wipfli, thank you so much for joining us this morning.